I live in a suburb of Minneapolis, and like so many others, I was saddened and sickened over what happened to George Floyd. This photo I took was from the aftermath of rioting on Lake Street in downtown Minneapolis. I had to see for myself the damage that was done to our beautiful city. Nothing could have really prepared me for what I saw as I was walking along Lake Street. Most of the buildings were still burning that morning, and I felt like I was actually walking in a third world country, not a city located in northern state of Minnesota. There were people all over with brooms and trash bags in hand, ready to help clean wherever they could. Nothing was off limits to me, and I was able to walk into Target and see the damage done on the exterior as well as the interior. Whatever non perishables that weren't damaged were free for the taking to the community. What happened here was truly heartbreaking. My name is Debra Bernard, and I live in a suburb of Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm a portrait photographer with a primary focus on families, high school seniors, and pets. But I also have a great passion for street photography and for current events and capturing everyday people as well. The whole thing happened. We're so close. I'm about 20 minutes away from where this happened at Cup Foods. Um, so I decided, my daughter and I, early morning on that Sunday morning after, to go down and just see what was happening and just see how the community was coming together or if there were other things going on. So we went down and we said, we'll go through Lake Street. And at that point, when we were driving down, it almost was like, I did live in the Middle East. I can preface, I lived in Dubai, which is obviously not a very rich country, but I was still seeing and meeting people who come from, countries where it's a third world country and where there's wars and devastation. And literally you almost felt like that same eerie feeling driving down Lake Street in Minneapolis after this. I mean, businesses were, destroyed, buildings were burned. It just looked like a war zone, I guess. So obviously I was just taking photos of everything and anything. There was zero police, which was, you could have done anything. You could have walked in anywhere. The precinct, actually, I think that was fenced and locked up, but we could walk around it. Like I said, you could walk into the retailers, which the Target there was completely destroyed, looted. But I mean, they still had like everything was just open. There were still products that wasn't looted. And like I said in my excerpt there, you could take whatever you want that they had set out. It was free for the taking for whomever may need it. But the interesting thing is, when I was overseas, so this was like 10 years ago, and I was meeting friends, especially my girlfriend from South Africa, and she was just talking about how life was with her and growing up there and things that were happening. And I said, God, like that never happens in America. And funny thing is, when this happened and I posted these photos, she contacted me right away. And she's like, see, Deborah, you told me stuff like this doesn't happen in America, and it happens everywhere. So it's just kind of sad that we all feel like we're like, I don't know, almost like untouchable, or these things can't happen, and they're happening, right outside our back door or front door. So anyway, it was just really, I guess, just devastating, heartbreaking, and shameful of what people are, how we're living right now. It's embarrassing, kind of, to see what was happening, what happened to obviously George Floyd, but also what people were doing to their own hometown. And they were just destroying the entire city of Minneapolis. And to be honest, I mean, it's still obviously haven't recovered. And there's just stuff, it's ongoing all the time. So it's just heartbreaking, I guess. I think it was a bank building. I don't know the name of the actual building, but I can tell you, we were walking by it and you can see it, you see the smoke. It was still burning down. And oh, this is, yeah, we were walking by there. It was burning. And I found out, I think like the following day or 2 days later, I mean, I think the whole thing just crumbled, fell to the ground. So, and I mean, they pretty much cleaned up the whole area now, like everything is, but it was just crazy. It was just kind of crazy, surreal, I guess. And you almost couldn't believe, it's almost like you were walking in a movie set. You know what I mean? Not like real life. I feel like 10 years ago or something, you barely heard about Minneapolis. It's like, what, Minnesota, where? And now everyone knows. So, yeah. I know. I just feel like everyone had to see what was really happening because I also feel like what you see in the news, what's true, what's not true, how it's perceived, how it's done. So I felt like as as a photographer and as just living here, being a resident of this place, people had to know what was going on. It wasn't all, I guess, full of hatred. It was just, I don't know. I just felt like I had to show things that maybe other people weren't showing. So there were a bunch of pictures, and I did a huge post on it through Facebook and through some of my Instagram, just to show people, how everyone was kind of coming together, and you could see, especially down at George Floyd, at the memorial at Cup Foods. It brought everybody, all walks of life, and it was very peaceful. It was very peaceful. And I mean, I've heard stories, and I know, I just feel like everyone had to see what was really happening because I also feel like what you see in the news, what's true, what's not true, how it's perceived, how it's done. So I felt like as a photographer and as just living here, being a resident of this place, people had to know what was going on. It wasn't all, I guess, full of hatred. It was just, I don't know. I just felt like I had to show things that maybe other people weren't showing. So there were a bunch of pictures, and I did a huge post on it through Facebook and through some of my Instagram, just to show people, how everyone was kind of coming together, and you could see, especially down at George Floyd, at the memorial at Cup Foods. It brought everybody, all walks of life, and it was very peaceful. It was very peaceful. And I mean, I've heard stories and of lots of things that were going on. I didn't witness it, so I can't really speak on that. Okay, so I'm trying to remember. They did a huge, a whole bunch of fundraising and a whole bunch of, I guess, like drop-off stations for non-perishables, like everything that people needed, because the whole place was, I mean, all the local businesses, so people couldn't even go and shop for, I don't know, babies' diapers, milk. Well, I wouldn't say milk because it's not non-per, but like just things like that, paper towels, toilet paper, you could not get, because all these shops, everything was just destroyed. So I know my daughter went down and helped with a lot of volunteering and dropping off all non-perishables and stuff. And so that was, I mean, I think all that's obviously back to normal, but I mean, the whole thing over George Floyd is just, I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's just devastating and sickening. And I think we'll never recover from what happened. And hopefully he'll never be forgotten, first off. But yeah, so now it's making me want to go back down there and photograph some more. You know what I mean? Because you do it when it happens and you see it, and then you drive by again. But now I feel like I better go back with my camera and just kind of like redocument what's going on.
Hey folks, I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you're interested in learning more about the photographer, you can check out more of their images and stories on our website, scop.io, and buy our book on any major online retailer or your local bookstore. Tune in to our next episode. And don't forget to subscribe. See ya!